done in high school is of the utmost importance to get into college. Take all advanced classes to prove an ability to handle a rigorous course load. Become an officer for as many clubs as possible to prove leadership capabilities. Volunteer, not out of compassion, but to bolster applications, and pursue activities that provide awards while suppressing passions that don't. Do everything you can to get into a good college. The future depends on it. This is the internal monologue running through high schoolers' minds, and it has mercilessly consumed our culture. And we, as high schoolers, feed into the pressure, perpetuating it. We go through the checklist, comparing ourselves to others and threatened by those who check off more boxes. But all of this comes at a cost. Because of the high amounts of pressure put on students to achieve early, we have been crippled by a fear of failure, leading to a loss of life skills as well as morals, and preventing self-realization. Now, this has been an issue that's only been getting worse over the years. For instance, in 1940, 20% of American students confessed to cheating. That number today is a whopping 75%. Students today feel more pressure than ever to rise up to the impossibly high expectations put on them. So how can we be surprised by the measures taken to achieve this success? Now, this was the case with Elizabeth Holmes, the seeming epitome of an early bloomer. Holmes was accepted into Stanford as a teen, and at age 30, she was named the richest woman in the world by Forbes magazine. She had started a company called Theranos, which worked to take blood samples without using intravenous methods. Investors pooled their money into Theranos, shooting its worth up to $10 billion. It's seemingly success, right? The exact definition of it, in fact. But things came crashing down soon enough. When Theranos' chief scientists began to notice that the technology was faulty, this brought up a big concern, as it was dangerous. Faulty technology meant that a lot of diseases could be missed, and fatal diseases could not be treated. Now, at this realization, Holmes didn't do anything to address this mistake. Rather, she did everything in her power to keep this realization a secret, especially from investors. Things came crashing down nonetheless, and at the end of it, Holmes had nothing. Her story is the result of an obsession with success. She kept pushing forward, afraid to take a step back and evaluate her work at the fear of losing first place. Most of all, she was trapped by ideas that were cheered on by a society that promoted a very narrow view of success. Compare this to Rich Crawford, who'd been a B and C student all throughout his life. He had gotten into Stanford only by a fluke, and after he graduated, he worked several odd jobs for years. While his peers pushed ahead of him, he kept going, the tortoise in this race. Today, he's the editor of Forbes magazine, as well as an author of 4 books, a lecturer, and a pilot. His story is because he trusted himself, and he kept going at his own pace. Because of it, he bloomed. Guys, we can bloom too. For so long, I never felt like I was enough. My merits never leveled up to those of my peers, and no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. What I pursued wasn't out of passion. It was about what I could do to boost my image to look good for colleges, something I've been told measured my worth since I was really little. But when I began to take a step back and appreciate myself and the work I love doing, I began to realize that I am on my own path. You are on your own path. And it'll be at different points for each of us, but so long as we trust ourselves, we will bloom wonderfully. Let's be the generation to end this toxic push for early achievement, because we are so much more than the merits listed under our names. I know we can do it. I'm sure of it.